Okay, let's talk about keyframing. So in Premiere, anytime you see this little stopwatch icon, that's what this little icon is over here, that means that this is an attribute that you can keyframe, that you can automate through time. Keyframing is basically saying I want this attribute to be this amount at this point in time, and then a different amount at a different point in time. So on screen right now, I have the example from when I was talking about compositing. So say I want to control the opacity of the top clip through time. I'm going to change this back to normal, not dissolve, normal. I'm going to turn the opacity all the way up. So say I want to have this, I don't want it to just be a constant 50%. If you do, that's fine, but I don't want it. I want it to slowly fade in. So I want it to actually start at 0% opaque, and then by the time the Hail video clip ends here, then I want the top video to be completely 100% opaque. Right? And so it's all about just assigning those variables at the points in time that you want. So I'm going to go to this point in time, and first I'm going to turn on keyframing, which is you click on the little stopwatch. So I've told Premiere, hey, now I want you to automate these. And this little diamond shape here, that is called the keyframe. So I'm saying, hey, at this point in time, I want the opacity to be 0. And then just move your playhead to the next point in time you want to control. So at this point in time, I want opacity to be 100. So now you see you've got this keyframe that's 100, this keyframe that's 0, and you can use these little arrows and this little dot to navigate keyframes. So I can jump between the two keyframes. And if I'm on a keyframe, I can turn it on or off by clicking this center dot. So I can say, oh wait, no, that's not right. I don't want that, so let me turn that off. So now that keyframe is gone, and you can see at that point in time, the opacity is still 0 because I turned off the keyframe that assigned it to be 100. So let me put that back. I want that to be 100. And now let's rewind and watch this magnificent example of the cat video slowly fading in. And you can actually see the opacity number automatically counting up as it moves from keyframe 0% opaque to keyframe 100% opaque. Cool, and at that point in time, it is just 100% opaque. Say I want that fade in to go faster, well, I can change, at any point I can insert a new keyframe just by entering a new value. So let's say 100% there. And so now I have keyframe 0%, keyframe 100%, and then another keyframe 100%. That's a little redundant. I can click on this and hit delete on the keyboard to get rid of it. Or I can navigate it to the keyframe navigators and toggle it off by clicking this center button. Or another thing we could do here, let me toggle off that one, is I could just click and drag the keyframe to this point in time. So now if I were to rewind this and hit play on the keyboard, that fade in happens a lot more quickly. I can bring this much closer and then insert a new keyframe here. It says 0, and now it's going to fade in and then fade out. You can do all sorts of stuff. If I hold Option on the keyboard, which is the copy key, and then click on this keyframe, I can copy it. So now it's going to fade back in. And for some reason, if you want to do this, you can select them all, hold Option, and click and drag. And so now I have 0, 100, 0, 100, 0, 100, 0, 100, and I've made a sickening example of keyframe automation with a video slowly fading in and out, in and out. And then to make this even more fun is that if you were to control click or right click on any of the keyframes themselves, you have a few controls here as far as cut, copy, clear, select all. But the keyframe, you can control how the data moves in and out of it, right? So right now it's just linear. It moves from 0% opaque to 100% opaque in a linear fashion, and then as soon as it hits 100% opaque, it begins its journey down to 0% opaque, again in a linear fashion. But I can change these by right-clicking or control-clicking to Bezier, Auto Bezier, Continuous Bezier, or Hold, or then this is just, it makes the movement sort of ease in and out in a continuous energy sort of way, so it never sort of hits a sharp corner of transitioning between, counting up or counting down. Or you can, instead of having it be a continuous in and out of that data set, you can just make it ease in or ease out. And these are best illustrated with perhaps motion keyframing, but just experiment with them. They're very easy to understand as you start playing with them. And so yeah, you can see here, I'm actually going to uncheck automate to get rid of all those real quick. I'm just going to return this to 100%. You can see all these stopwatches, all of these variables can be automated through time. If you hop into effects and you apply an effect to a clip, you'll see that most of those variables are also automatable through time. So let's see, let's do another silly example. We'll keyframe position. I want at the beginning of this clip, I want the video actually to be slid off to the side. And then at the end of this clip, I want the video to be slid off the other side. So now if I rewind it and hit play, here comes the clip sliding across. Great, and perhaps another super useless example of this. Let's automate rotation. This is one of my most fun guilty pleasures. Let's say that it is 0% rotated at that point, but by the time it moves across the screen, it will have rotated a million times. This has 0% practical application. All right, now let's rewind this, and you'll see that at this point in time, I said its position is off to the left side of the screen, and at this point in time, it's off to the right point of the screen. And at this point in time, it has 0 rotations to it, but by the time it's arrived at here, it's rotated 37 times plus another 180 degrees. So let's watch this joy. I feel like I'm making my cat dizzy. All right, I know that that specific example has very few practical applications, but now you know how to keyframe.